one thing that unites us all.
We have some more questions to answer, and before we get to the social media questions, we have one from Easton.
Hello, my name is Easton. I'm 6 years old and I'm from Wayne, Indiana. And I have a question for you. Can you see SWAT from our planet?
That's a good question, Easton. Well, SWOT is relatively small compared to other celestial bodies, and it's not as bright as, say, moon. It's about 500 miles above the Earth's surface. But maybe with a pair of good binoculars, far away from major cities on a particularly night sky, you can spot SWOT from Indiana, where you live.
Invest in some binoculars there. We also have social media questions coming in, so let's get to the first one. Let's see, Elaine, will SWOT measure ice fields, glaciers, and snowpack, or just liquid water?
So the primary focus for SWOT is ice-free water, but we do have a couple of scientists who are interested to use SWOT measurements for the height of sea ice as well. Good question.
Yeah, let's get to the next one. What will happen to the probe after the mission?
So I presume it's the carrier instrument. It
Yes.
will stay on the satellite and do its job until until we're done.
We'll keep going. All right, we have another question coming up. Hi, everyone at NASA SWAT. Our bodies are 70% water, and then we cremate the deceased. Does that water go into the atmosphere and then the land and the sea? They're really getting into details, or get rained back onto land. Also, is the SWAT mission measuring the depth of water to calculate the volume?
So we could calculate the volume by knowing the slope of the water and its height. So that's one of the measurements that we're targeting. And knowing the volume and height is really a very dynamic variable, Raquel. It can also tell us how the water moves and how it moves different quantities with it, quantities like heat or energy or plastic or pollution. So it's a very dynamic and rich quantity to deal with.
Lots of variables.
Yep.
Next question. How will SWAT satellite help in our fight against climate change?
In many ways. Let me start with the oceans. Ocean is known to absorb most of the global warming that we've accumulated over the past few years. And as we expect ocean continue taking it for the team, Team Earth, what's really interesting question, Raquel, is would it continue to absorb heat, or will reach the tipping point when the efficiency of the Earth oceans is decreasing and all of this heat will be kicked back? So by observing a range of energetics with SWOT, like on a range of frequencies, will really answer this one of the most critical questions of our time, of what happens with our planet as it warms, as well as with our water resources that are impacted by the climate change. Questions like, will population have enough water to survive, or maybe it will have too much water that will impact its livelihood on land. So a range of questions we are looking to answer with SWOT mission.
Truly critical questions
Truly
as well.
critical, yes.
Thank you, Nadia, and thank you for all your questions today. We are about 1 hour after launch. Commentators Megan and Denton are with us again.
Yeah, back here at the Mission Director Center, where you can actually see some people behind us celebrating because, again, the spacecraft separated a little bit ago, and now we are awaiting acquisition of signal with the spacecraft. But I do want to point out that a few minutes ago, the spacecraft team did confirm that they did get initial data from the spacecraft already, right?
Yeah, and we, as we mentioned, there was a chance that shortly after separation we could get some data, and they did confirm they did receive some telemetry, and it's just a subset of the full suite of telemetry that we expect to get here in a couple of minutes. So it was just a small subset, just to confirm they can communicate with the spacecraft, which is great, which means the spacecraft is doing well.
Okay, so yes, we're awaiting that full acquisition of signal in about 2 minutes. So when we get that full acquisition of signal, what kind of data are we talking about?
Yeah, and so it's the full suite of data. It's the the spacecraft reporting. Okay, our instruments are looking good. All the subsystems are working correctly, and that's the type of data we're expecting to get from during this initial excuse me, I say this primary pass here in a couple of minutes, and just to make sure that everything's working correctly, and they did well during the ride.
And you did mention the instruments. Obviously, there's a number of different instruments on the SWAT spacecraft, so you will get data about